Hi everyone, my name is Tiffany. Welcome back, or welcome if you've never been here before. Today I'm bringing you witchy, I'm bringing you spooky, I'm bringing you fall vibes. This is in collaboration with Books with Samantha, where she's having Trope Week on her channel, giving you recommendations each day. There was even a reading blog where she shared how she does her special effects makeup and she related them to books. I highly suggest you go check it out. It was so much fun. She's so talented and creative. I loved that video. Here, the theme is witchy, magic, spooky vibes. Honestly, I wish I had a little bit of magic right now, okay, to put the world on mute. Everyone is so loud outside. I will try to edit out the noise. The smell and sound of silence. Now that the world is on mute, we can continue. I apologize, very unprofessional. You can always skip through the timestamps down below past my antics. We're gonna start with Lord of Eternal by Ben Alderson. This is a male Beauty and the Beast retelling where our beast of a hero was cursed with vampirism in a time and world where they didn't even have a name for it, and Jack is the most powerful witch of his coven. Now, because of this curse, the witches are mad. They want their magic back because it took great sacrifice to leave Marius in this state hundreds of years ago. And they also want out of this agreement that they have with Marius to sacrifice one of their own annually to assuage his bloodlust in exchange for not feeding and slaying the town. And so, since birth, Jack has been raised to assassinate Marius. This is giving, I came to kill you, but on both sides, and the swords do cross. I really loved how in this Beauty and the Beast retelling, the library was recast. It's haunting, but it is a moment of great empathy. And that is really what characterizes Jack's time with Marius. He learns of his true nature and his true plight in his hopeless existence. And I really loved their romance. The romance is what shines in this book. If you're looking for a fully fleshed out magical system and a lot of world building, this isn't the one that I would recommend. But if you're looking for an Beauty and the Beast retelling and a great emotional romance, I'd pick this up. Next, I have to pick up another slaying witch, and that is Slaying the Vampire Conqueror by Carissa Broadbent. I adored this romance. It's slow burn. This is following Selena, who is a witch. She has sacrificed her sight and life to the goddess who found her in dire constraints as a child and raised her within this coven. And so one of her sisters has gone missing. She is sent in on a mission to infiltrate and slay the vampire king Hydrous, who's donning horns and conquering these kingdoms throughout their region. Now, I loved how their emotional development was paced in this book. Also, how her magic is described in a very organic, visceral, and atmospheric way. This was really beautiful, where they both fall by seeing each other demonstrate their character. And she is caught in between her allegiance to her coven and the king that she is coming to know, who is incredibly devoted to his people, where she learns that things really aren't adding up. And I absolutely adore this. If you haven't picked this up yet, I highly suggest that you do. I'm kind of sensing a theme here. Like, wait a minute. I'm the one that picked the book, so I'm like, is everyone stabby in this? A little bit. The next witch I have is from Hydrous. This is by Amara Rae. This is the second in her Immortal Coven series. I adore this series. If you have not finished it, I highly suggest that you continue. And I always like to talk about Hydrous because this is the second book and I want people to move past Lifeblood if it didn't work for them, because this is where I think this series picks up. We're following Naya. She is the head of her coven of hybrid witches. We learn in the first book that's a bit of a faux pas. There is a corrupt council of witches that aims to take them out with their sanctions and rules because they have amassed great power among them. And in the beginning of this book, Naya is dropped into a setup, okay? A Thunderdome, if you will, of a setup. It's not called that in the book, but I was picturing it, okay? Because she is out here slaying these hoes, okay? In shield maiden fashion. Oh my God, I loved her. She is a warrior. She's killing it. She's killing it. And as she is doing so, Finador, who is the king of the Blood Kingdom, is there. There is a prophecy that says his fated mate will be in attendance, and when he sees her out in the arena, he's immediately drawn to her bloodlust. Now, Naya is half fae, half witch, and she just so happens to have secret ties to the Winter Court, who is warring with Fin's kingdom, okay? They begin to work together, Naya on the part of her people, okay, to aid them in surviving what is going to surely be a war that could take out all magical creatures. And Finn is not really convinced that she's his fated mate, but he can use her politically to help his own. So these are two leaders bound by duty, bound by honor. They're not checking for love, although Finn does have this psycho sunshine disposition that I absolutely love, and she is a grump. She's strategic, and she's not trying to have her skin singing around him. It is so good. I love this romance. The series is a lot of fun. This is the perfect time to pick it up. Now I have Into the Heartless Woods by Joanna Ruth Meyer. I read this last year. This has all of the atmosphere, all of the beautiful prose. It's poetic. It is almost giving Tim Burton in the fact that it has this innocent quality to it while also being very heavy and dark. Death is very prevalent in this book. We're following a tree siren who uses her song to lure souls into the woods, and she feeds them to the queen. And this isn't something that she wants to do. Now, Owen, I believe that's what his name is. Yes, Owen is the son of an astronomer, lost his mother to the woods. And when his younger sibling runs into them, he's willing to risk his life. And she sees that. And he sees her disinterest in doing any harm. And it's the start of their romance, obviously forbidden. There's no steam in this book, and yet I could not put this down. I loved the plot of this and the ending. Oh my God, the ending of this book. So this is giving all of the atmosphere, the woods, everything, and it's beautifully written. I absolutely adored it. It's definitely perfect for fall. Oh my gosh. The next book I have is not a romance, it's a cozy fantasy, but I really think you're gonna enjoy it because it just made me laugh out loud. I read this in one freaking sitting, and that is A Wizard's Guide to Defensive Baking by T. Kingfisher. I loved this so much. We're following Mona. She's living in a magical city filled with magic and magical beings, and she has it herself. But her ability isn't so useful outside of what she does for her aunt in the bakery. She has the ability to manipulate bread dough. And at the beginning of this book, dun dun dun, she finds a dead body in the bakery. And this is about how that murder is tied to a serial unaliver who is taking out magical beings with great power, and how she gets caught up in the political intrigue of all of that, framed, being hunted down, and on this adventure. There are side characters that I absolutely adored, most being her little mini gingerbread who's stabby and feisty, so freaking cute. And the power that she found to be so useless is the greatest asset in this book. It was so fun to see the extent of what she could do with dough. I loved this so much. You are gonna want to eat snacks while you're reading this though. That I recommend. Another cozy, but make it mystery, featuring a witch, is Magic Lies and Deadly Pies by Misha Popp. I've read both in the series. I have had so much fun with them. In the first, we're following Daisy. She has a pie baking business where she makes sweet confections, but she also has the ability to imbue them with magic, and she's using it to serve vigilante justice. She's basically making murder pies on behalf of women that are surviving domestic violence. And I really loved how the magic worked in this book because they don't just kill anyone. The magic works to take out its intended mark, and it can also be used for good. I believe she even makes a pie for a college student that's cramming for an exam in this book. It's really fun. But her business works on recommendations. And so when she's reached out to by someone who's trying to blackmail her and reveal the true nature of her business, she gets to investigating. And that is what this book is about. I really enjoyed it. I liked the twist. The first book was 5 stars for me. The second book is giving a baking competition show. So it's a really fun series if you want to jump in. Next, I have A Witchy Romance, Charming Your Dad by Sarah Blue. This is Witchy Scorn, where our heroine was cheated on by her human of a boyfriend who had the audacity, and since there are magical rules, she can't just curse him directly or upend his life in any way using magic, so she has to get creative. We love to see it. Yet she's really not aware of what his father truly is. And I won't spoil that for you. The book has been out, but I loved figuring that out and how they were connected in other ways, how he is drawn to her fire and ire for reasons that are tied to his species. I had a very fun time with this. I have to continue. I have to continue after the reveals in this book. I'm very excited to pick this next one up this year, sometime around all these new releases. The last 2 books are novellas, just in time for the novellathon. That will start on the 16th, going to the 22nd. I'll be co-hosting along with Samantha, Rachel from Rachel Reads and Sings, and Ava from Ava's Romance Books. Just a plug. There are some fun announcements coming out with that too. And there'll be a giveaway. I have a video up on my channel right now, just in case you haven't heard. Anyway, moving on. Sweet Vengeance by Viano Oniomoh. This is following Joy when she is summoning a demon to help her take out the man who sexually assaulted her. So there is a trigger warning for that in this book, heavily. But she's really summoning him as a means of paranormal cleanup. She plans to claim that kill herself. And despite this really being about them plotting his murder together, it's also really sweet and swoony because the hero is gone for her. He's harboring his own trauma and backstory. And I love how this expounds on every aspect of her emotional trauma and the reasons for why she is laying him out. He happens to be her co-worker, and she's being made to work alongside with him every day, and she finally claims solace by taking her power back. I absolutely adored this. And there's also some like magical quagmires, which I love. I'm going to be wrapping up this video with Blood and Vows by Kay Easton. This is a Bloody Mary retelling where our hero is the Mary, and it took me completely by surprise because of the world building, the plot, and the romance between them that was giving captive without being insta-lovey was fully fleshed out in sound. I really enjoyed this. This is following Elizabeth, I believe, if I'm remembering correctly, on the worst day of her life. Her mother has recently passed. She's lost her job. Her boyfriend's been cheating on her with her best friend. And so she goes to a pub in a part of town that is known for being frequented by paranormal creatures. And when she's there, she stumbles across a mirror, which just so happens to be a portal, if you will, and meets Marius, who sees her as his for very well-established romance reasons. I don't want to tell you anymore. All I want to say is we do get to travel through this mirror. Marius is donning horns and a tail that he uses. And I was living because the romance between them is steamy, yes, but also it doesn't happen too quickly. She is not behaving like I would in this type of situation, okay? She wants out. She wants back to her old life, even though it was lacking, and she wants answers as well. So you're learning about his world along with her, and she reluctantly falls, thankfully, because this is also incredibly hot. So I highly suggest you pick up Blood and Vows, and I hope you enjoyed these recommendations. I want to thank you for joining me. Please consider subscribing and sticking around, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.